Check it out. That right there is the all-new Genesis G80 luxury sedan. It makes its world debut this week. In this video, I'm going to show you all the way around this car, inside and out, and share all the specifications that we know so far. And you might be surprised how much technology and design and style Genesis and Hyundai were able to actually stuff into one vehicle. I'm doing this remotely from my home office, but I can use the video that Genesis has provided during the world premiere of this car and actually show you the car so we can talk about not just about the styling and the interior features, but also the engineering that goes behind it. So let me share the screen and actually show you the video that Genesis has provided for us to view. So it's right here. And a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I remember I was at the New York Auto Show and Genesis brand was being launched. And they said that because they're launching a brand new car company, was still a division within the Hyundai Motor Group, that they can make the cars unique and different from anything else on the road. And finally now, what 2 or 3 years after the launch of the brand itself, I think we're seeing the fruits of that labor, because when you look at the new GV80 SUV that Genesis recently debuted, and you can see videos of that on this channel, TFLnow, and now this new car, the G80 sedan, I think you're finally seeing that unique design that Genesis has been promising us. So it all starts with kind of the same wheelbase that the car has had before, but now it's just kind of longer, wider, and lower. And of course, it benefits not just the styling of the car, but also some of the technical aspects of it, like the center of gravity. But you could see what they call the quad headlamps, which is a very unique look. And if you see this car coming down at you on the street or anywhere, I think you'll recognize it as a Genesis pretty quickly. I think that's a great quality of it. It's not like anything else on the road. And here they're showing us how that badge is actually morphing into the grille of the car, and how those two lines run all the way across the entire length of the car as well. And this includes not just the LED signature lights and taillights, but also the blinkers on the side, which I think is a really nice touch. And of course, I mean, this car takes a lot of kind of influence from some of the German automakers, because the chief designer, came from Audi and the chief engineer came from BMW. But I think it has a unique quality to it, and you can see a lot of the South Korean brand and their design style in this car as well. So let's go over some of the other aspects of it while we're looking at all of the design details. And I want to mention the engines, because the 5-liter V8 is no more for 2021. And replacing it are actually two turbocharged engines. They are 2.5-liter turbo 4 and a 3.5-liter twin turbo V6. And the 4-cylinder is rated at 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, made it to an 8-speed automatic. And the 3.5-liter twin turbo V6 is rated at 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. And that's the same engine basically that's available in the SUV as well. Here we see Albert Biermann, the chief engineer behind the car, also kind of talking about it and sharing some design details of this car. So it's a surprise somewhat, because luxury cars generally have V8 engines. But I think what Genesis is doing here is they're actually trying to offer customers the same amount of power, or approximately the same amount of power as before, but doing it in a more efficient fashion. So it's a little bit more fuel efficient and just a little bit more just kind of matching with the times, because all of the vehicles are aiming to become more fuel efficient. And here in this view, we can see kind of the long hood and some of the interior aspect details of this car, and also a lot of glass. As you can see, a lot of visibility. Genesis is saying they're offering with this new design, so the driver feels like they're just part of the environment. And for a quick car, which this should be with this much power, because they also saved some weight, around 240 pounds with this new generation of the car compared to the previous generation. You need to have visibility, but it also has very unique features like you see right here, massaging seats, but you're not allowed to call them massaging seats in the industry. I guess you have to use other terms, and Genesis calls it motion seats. But basically, there are some air bladders in the front seats, which can, shift the way the seat conforms to you and actually offer kind of a massaging feature. Next up is technology, because it's huge with luxury sedans and cars. Genesis is offering a new air filtration system, and it's especially important in the times like we're living through right now. And according to them, there are several different levels of filtration, or the car can actually adjust to how many dust particles are actually entering the cabin. And I think that's very clever and also very much appreciated by everybody across the market. And I think this feature you can also see in some of the really high-end, very expensive sedans and SUVs. And this is more of a mid-size luxury sedan that goes up against the likes of a BMW 5 Series, an Audi A6, maybe a Mercedes E-Class, but it still offers you all this stuff, which is Genesis and Hyundai are famous for doing, actually letting you have access to a lot of technology and design, but at a slightly lower price points. Pricing has not been announced yet, but we are anticipating the starting price of around 45,000 bucks and going up to about $70,000. Here you can see a Smart Park feature. So this feature was introduced on, of course, the Sonata from Hyundai, but it's now also available here in the Genesis G80 sedan, and it's also available, like you saw, for parallel parking using a key fob, which is a pretty clever feature. It's also a party trick you can share with your friends and tell them that your car can park itself just by you standing next to it, which is pretty cool. Of course, the car has a lot of built-in safety technologies as well. We're not just talking about adaptive cruise control, which is also available on the G80 sedan, but a lot of other features that are now starting to enter this kind of lower mid-size segment for sedans. And that includes collision avoidance. So you can see systems like this at lower speeds. The car, using its sensors and cameras, can actually help you avoid collisions. For example, when pulling out of a parking space like this, or crossing an intersection, and of course, adaptive cruise following the vehicle in front of you. That's available. Blind spot monitoring, backup assist. All those features are available on this car. And it's nice to see that the systems are doing more now. So when before maybe just adaptive cruise was available, but now this, the availability of technologies is extending to, like you saw, collision avoidance features. Not, all collisions can be avoided, but at least some of them, if at least some of them can be avoided, that's a really great thing. Of course, power is also there, but before we get there, of course, all the airbags are there, 10 airbags, and all the safety features, even, when an accident does occur, are there as well. Power, yeah, we already talked about the available power, especially from the 3.5 twin turbo. 375 horses is comparable. It's pretty competitive in the segment. And of course, the suspension should fit it. The 2.5 liter is a very large displacement engine, in my opinion, for a 4-cylinder. They're also going to have a diesel, as you just saw, 2.2 liter, but that's going to be available in other markets, not coming to the United States market. So we're getting 2 engines. Aluminum construction is still there. Like I said, they decreased the weight of the car just a little bit, which is very important for performance, cornering, braking, acceleration. They did not communicate exact acceleration times as of this moment, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty competitive. But if you had to have that V8 engine, it's not going to be available. So if you want that V8 sound, the exhaust sound, it may not be available in this particular car for 2021 for for the G80. And some of the other features it has is also remote diagnosis or actually servicing of the car. So the car can actually upload data about itself and actually have either you or a dealership get involved in the actual, if something is wrong with the car. So that's also available, and it's not really new. I mean, some other manufacturers also offer this feature, but it's cool to see that that feature is actually can monitor a lot of many different systems in the car, up to about 40 different parameters and systems. So the car actually knows, if something is about to go wrong, maybe you can actually predict it and actually address it with some service at the dealership before it becomes a problem. So that's a very interesting feature. The car should go on sale a little bit later this year. Like I said, pricing has not been announced yet. The current car, the 2020 G80, starts at around 42,000 and change for a rear-wheel drive model, about $45,000 and change for an all-wheel drive model. And then, of course, it goes up from there if you get the bigger engine, more power, et cetera. And then if you add all of the technology features, like you saw, all the navigation and gigantic, 14-inch screen, and all of the features that includes, pricing can go up, obviously. And we're anticipating that pricing may hit, higher $60,000 range, maybe touching $70,000. But if you look at the competitors from Germany or others, like Lexus, that's a pretty competitive price for a sedan that's not only luxurious, but also has some performance. And guys, we have a lot more about this and all the other new cars at TFLcar.com. So go and check it out. And of course, the TFL Car channel, where we have all of the very detailed real world news, views, and reviews on all the different cars. Thank you for joining me for this news video. We'll be bringing you a lot more, not just on this channel, but of course, all of our websites as well. Thank you very much.